Hi, Renee here, and I am finally doing another blog vlog for my master's thesis. Oh my goodness, I've been putting this off for months and months, and it is such a massive process doing a master's. It's not meant to be easy, they're not meant to be something that you just give out the piece of paper, so I understand that. What's been really interesting is being both a lecturer and a student at the same time. I understand what the students go through. It's also quite funny because I'll be telling my students, don't procrastinate, keep on track, and then I procrastinate. To be fair to myself, I've had quite a few personal challenges in the last couple of months that have knocked me about a bit, and I've had to fit in a trip to Australia, which is not close, flying from the Netherlands. And thankfully, I was ahead of schedule. Now I feel like I'm about 2 to 3 months behind schedule, but in reality, I'm constantly thinking about this. I'm working in lots of little bits. So my research proposal is a little bit behind. The actual data collection and everything in the last screencast that I did, I was a bit unrealistic about how long that all takes. So I said I'd finish my data collection in, I think I actually said January or February. We're now in the first week of April. I've started data collection. I have kind of done it in a bit of the wrong order. The research proposal should have been in first, but it's all been a bit mixed up with trying to balance study, work, children, personal situation. So all crazy, but I'm trying to stay positive. I have learned so much already. You can see on the wall behind me, here is my concept model. And this is Research Central at the moment. It's a bit of a mess, but I thought it might be fun to just show anyone who's interested, and also for myself to look back on this later, the process that I've gone through. So I've just watched on my own blog here the video that I did back in, when did I do that? November, I think. So I did a 10-minute screencast. And today I am just trying to get my head straight with what I need to do to get this research proposal in today, and then do all the data collection, and then the actual thesis, which needs to be in. I want to have that done at the end of, I'm losing track, which is why I have a planning Gantt chart here. So I have all the dates on there. So I want to have everything done by the end of May, the beginning of June, so that I've got a little bit of time to edit before it needs to be submitted on the 10th of July. So where I'm at is I now have my research topic, which is how can e-learning enhance study success at the Hague University of Applied Sciences. I've been through some great lessons with Dr. Schelte Beltman, who works at the Hague University and is our research methodology teacher. I unfortunately had to miss a couple of the classes, but we have this textbook, Research Methods for Business Students, which we also use in the bachelor's program where I work. It's a very thick book. It's a very good book. And one of the biggest challenges I'm finding with doing a master's is there is a lot of reading. And I love reading, but when you have a job and 2 children, it's difficult to keep focused, and it's not easy reading. It's intense, and it really requires a lot of concentration. I learned a lot about myself too in this process, and I already knew I don't think well in my head. I'm a blogger and a vlogger. I need to talk things out with people. And the thing is that my husband's already sick of this, but he has been a bit of a help. I don't know a lot of people that are at the same kind of level as I am in this research on this topic. So that's the challenge. I'm not going to bug my friends with all of this, and they're not going to be wanting to sit and talk to me for hours. So I've got to figure out how to process all this information. I have meetings with my supervisor, but they're usually, quite short, and I've got to get to the point, which is also a challenge for me. And I think the whole academic research is aimed at people who are very methodological. My husband's an aerospace engineer, so he's very good at this. For me, I can do it, but it's a real challenge, and it takes a lot of energy. So this is one of the ways I'm trying to deal with it. I need an external representation of all the stuff going on in my head that I'm trying to cope with. So what I've got going on here is I need print copies to read. So I've printed out a lot of journal articles that I'm reading through. And I've got a bit of a system going here. So I'm trying to organize things in themes. So up the top there, I've got higher education. alongside this master's, I'm actually also doing my higher education teaching certificate. Again, it's a lot to do all at once, but it's all very relevant to what I'm studying. So that's my higher education part. Then in the middle, I've got the Hague University, which is where I'm working and studying, and the focus of my thesis. So I've got things like policy and framework, and some books that they've published and study guides. Over here, I've got all the e-learning stuff. Blended learning is coming into it a lot, and study success, which is the other half of my research question. Off the mat are the things that are either being pushed off, which is an important part of research as well. First, I was looking at stuff like onboarding. I've got a few drafts over there that I don't want to throw out yet because I might want to just check a few things. And I also have stuff to come in. So new information that I find, I want to be able to fit into this system somewhere. So before I bring it in, it kind of sits there and then I'll bring it across. Here up the front is examples referencing the actual manual. So I keep referring back to this and a few notes. And over here, next to my daughter's Lego, is the actual data collection. So they're examples or responses of the surveys that I'm doing and the ones I'm still planning. And in the middle here, looking way too blank right now, is all the data analysis. On the other side, off the mat, is some e-learning presentations and some corporate small business type stuff I've done. So that's also relevant, but it's outside of the scope of this thesis, but I'm keeping it there to remind myself to link things back. So that is the way that my crazy brain works. I'm not sure if that's of interest to anyone, but it's such a massive thing to do a master's, and I have spent many hours procrastinating and avoiding it because I just don't know how to tackle it. And this seems to be working for me so far. Today, what I'm planning on doing is going through all of my references, which are the ones over here that I'm using, double checking I have them in the correct format, because when you talk about crossing T's and dotting I's, you really have to do that in a thesis. So we're using the Harvard system of referencing, and I have to make sure that my references are all in there in text and in the reference list. There's a lot of back and forward as well, so I'm making sure that I'm going back and reminding myself constantly about what am I trying to do here, and going back to the thesis manual and going back to the notes that Dr. Beltman did in his class to make sure that I'm addressing everything I need to. As a lecturer, I also know that, you're looking at specific things. It has to all tie together. So that's my messy mind, my messy office, and where I'm at with my master's. And just to round off, I have the main research question, which is how can e-learning enhance study success at the Hague University of Applied Sciences? In my research proposal, I have the introduction, I've got the context of study, I have the background and trends. Part of this comes from an assignment that I did last year on a literature review, and a lot of it is just I've been working on this for months now. I think whatever time you think you need if you're doing a master's, triple it, quadruple it. The other sub-questions I've got, I'm going to put them in a blog post later, but they're all to support the main research question. You need to do a time frame, the literature review, and I've come up with a conceptual model, which is a visual representation of all the reading that I'm doing and what kind of elements are crucial to e-learning and study success. So I'll use that conceptual model as the basis from my desk research, and then I'm going to do what we then call field research, which is the data interviewing, paper interviews, online interviews, and face-to-face. I need to keep going back to this research methods to come up with exactly the right terms and make sure everything's valid. And it's a lot of work. I enjoy a lot of aspects of it. The rest is a complete challenge, but I am keeping my eye on that graduation in August. So if you're doing a master's, you're interested, I hope that's helpful to you. I'd really love to hear in comments how you tackle things, what you think of this crazy system. And I'll try and do another update soon. Bye.